Welcome, everybody, to Web and Beyond Live for June 1st, 2020. I'm Ray Sidney Smith, and I'm president of W3 Consulting and managing director of W3C Web Services, which provides affordable WordPress hosting for small businesses and domain registrations and all that good stuff. Today, what I'm going to be doing is talking to you about just a couple of updates that I wanted to bring to your attention. And then once a month, I like to do a little thing I call What's New at Google. I am the Google Small Business Advisor for productivity. And so I spend a lot of time talking to people about G Suite and what's going on in the Googleverse. And so I just want to update folks, both who are using G Suite, but also those who are outside of it, who just have to exist in the Google world. And whether or not you're actually in Microsoft or Apple's ecosystem, you still have to deal with Google being the largest search engine in the world in some way, shape, or form. So I'd like to keep people up to date in terms of what's going on with Google. So that being the case, let's hop into just the couple of updates that I had for everyone in terms of what's going on in the world. I hope everyone is staying safe and well during this turbulent time. And I know that it's difficult, but we do have to focus on our businesses and recovery, notwithstanding what's really happening out there in the world. And so the first thing that I thought was really interesting and hopefully useful to someone is Square is actually hosting a small business hackathon. And the first thing you're going to say is, well, I'm not a software developer. And that doesn't really matter because you probably know some software developers in the world. And what Square is doing here is that if you go to square.devpost.com, the folks at Square are calling all developers to basically come and build software applications that can help a small business either adapt and recover. And so if you go to square.devpost.com, and I'll put a link to this in the video description, but in essence, what will happen is there are four categories: retail, food and beverage, healthcare, and then services generally. And they're looking for you to build a web or mobile application, and you can use any one of the two API, the Square's APIs, any of the Square APIs and or its SDKs. You can be in Australia, Canada, Japan, United Kingdom, and United States. Now, again, like I said, even if you're not a software developer, you want to pay attention to this because the winner gets $3,000 for themselves and $3,000 US to donate to a small business of their choice. Then they also get a Google Home, some Square swag, and promotion on Square's Twitter and YouTube channel. But the $3,000 to be donated to the small business of their choice, if you let that software developer in your life know that this exists, hopefully there's a high probability that they'll give that $3,000 to you. So if you know any software developers, please feel free to pass that along to them and have them join the hackathon. They're not only going to be doing something really wonderful for small businesses that are trying to adapt and recover in this post-COVID-19 recovery phase, however long it lasts, but also there's an opportunity for some cash coming into your pocket as well. I also wanted to note, just as my only other little tangent from Google right now in this episode, is that Google had brought out LinkedIn Events and some other new products that they're streaming onto the market. They have LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Events. LinkedIn Live, as I've talked about in the past, is by application for individual profiles and for pages. They don't seem to be available widely yet to everyone. I've applied both for my company page and for myself individually and still haven't gotten approved. So I don't know where other people lie in their algorithm for choosing who gets it and who doesn't. And then they scaled out LinkedIn Events. I've tested that to some extent. It's available within your company page if you have it activated for your account. And now, with LinkedIn's dedication to LinkedIn groups, they're starting to make good on that that stance that they were going to be upgrading and recommitting to LinkedIn groups. And so recently, they have now given some new admin functionalities. So in this particular case, what they're doing is, and I'm reading here from the notification, they basically said admins will be able to review all new group posts from desktop or mobile before they're shared with other members. Admins will receive notification for all new posts that say pending review. And so group owners, if you are a group owner, you're capable of activating this feature and then you'll be able to now, in essence, moderate group posts if you need to, especially if you have a particular group where there might be sensitive content that's shared or other kinds of things of that nature. So it's just good to see that LinkedIn is and continues to commit to the platform of LinkedIn groups and making sure that they're adding new features and updating old features to be better. I know that I have continually had problems with LinkedIn groups, including an old function that keeps blocking my posts to other groups, and it just continues to be a problem for me. So if you are at all experiencing some headaches with LinkedIn groups, you are not alone. Okay, so with that, now for what's new at Google for technically May 2020, which is what has been happening in Google in the past month or so. I wanted to talk about some of the features and new things that are coming up. And one of the things that was announced, which I'm going to park for its own episode, is that Google is going to be scaling out a new page experience ranking factor for the search engine. I'm going to delay it only because this is not coming for some time. And so before everyone kind of gets their stomach in a bind over what they need to do in order to make themselves appealing to the Google search engines, the reality is that this is going to happen way down the track. And so I want to give due diligence to it. I'll give it its own time and episode so we can really flesh out what that really means. But for the moment, nothing's changing. Nothing has changed. And so people should be okay with it. But just know that on the horizon, Google will be changing or adding a ranking factor for page experience. And that's going to really fundamentally change the way in which maybe some lower cost or lower level hosting of particular pages render in the search engine's index. So we need to really start thinking about it, but it's not for a while away. So we don't need to really get too bent out of shape about that. But there are a couple really interesting things that Google has been scaling out across the board, not just within G Suite, but beyond G Suite. So for example, one of those things is Gmail has gotten a new little feature here, which is for you to be able to personalize your inbox from the gear icon. So if you're ever in the Gmail interface, and you go up to the gear icon in the top right-hand corner, you will typically see a drop-down to go to settings, and you can change all kinds of different settings about the way in which Gmail looks in its interface, its web interface. Well, now you'll see some of those options under what's now quick settings, and you should be able to see not only content density, meaning that how close are the lines of particular items to each other, and they both from a vertical and horizontal perspective. You'll be able to change your theme, changing those backgrounds and different images in the background, and also the inbox type. So defaulting between, are you going to see your important messages first? That means messages directly to you with you in the to field, or unread first, and so on and so forth. So those quick functions are being pushed up to the top underneath the new quick settings menu. And I just think it'll be easier for people to go ahead and customize or personalize the Gmail interface fast. The first rollout is to G Suite customers. So that went out rapid release sometime last week, and then it'll roll out to everyone else sometime mid to late June. And then presumably they're going to roll that out to Gmail users all told, but they haven't quite made an update whether or not personal Gmail users will get the update or when they would get the update. But presumably they're going to bring it to Gmail proper once they get this out. It's an easy, quick settings menu option to add, so I don't see why they wouldn't. Okay, so that's that, and then I'm kind of peeling back the lid and going into G Suite. So all of these updates are really G Suite specific, and so just note that these are not regarding personal or consumer-based Gmail or Google accounts. So here goes the thing. Google has brought out some really amazing new pieces, and I know they may not sound amazing on its surface, but they're actually really amazing. So I don't think I've talked about this in the past, but Google has released something called shortcuts. And what shortcuts are basically links from a real file that you might have living in Google Drive. And now you have the ability to create these shortcuts anywhere in the system back to that native file. So The traditional problem that people have is that there isn't what I continually call a single source of truth regarding any particular document, because people make copies of documents and put them in multiple places throughout Google Drive. Now, this causes two problems. One is people can potentially edit multiple documents, and then you have multiple sources of truth, which again is not the way you want a document to be. Two is that once people start adding new files in different places, you then are creating redundancy, and that means that there is a buildup of files, that is the amount of files and the file sizes get larger, and therefore you're taking up more capacity in the system than is necessary. If you have 5 of the same document, you're using 5 of that storage space, 5 times that's the storage space that you need to, and you don't, and you're basically going to end up having to pay for that, because at some point you're going to hit the storage limit and you're going to have to pay for additional storage. By consolidating that and using shortcuts, you're able to reduce that functionality. Well, Google now has added something where and I can't believe it wasn't a feature before. When I sat down and read the notification, I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't actually a feature available. But before, you weren't actually able to share a folder in shared drives. And so in this new beta program, what Google is doing now within G Suite is giving you the ability to share folders within shared drives. So you were able to share a folder before, and you could share a directory within Google Drive, but now you can now share a specific folder with others within shared drives. And so this is really powerful, because say if you have a particular area of your business and you want to be able to share just specific directories within that already shared drive, you can now do that. And so you can say, you know what, I want to hire this contractor or this freelancer to be able to do this work outside of the organization. You now can share just that internal directory of the completely shared drive within the system. Now, again, that shared drive can also include shortcuts, which are, in essence, they look just like a normal file with a little icon on them, but they are not the file itself. They're just links to other files that might be in other locations. And now you just have a rich way to be able to share seamlessly all the different types of files you have to share with others, but in a way that doesn't duplicate files and creates a single source of truth for a document or a project all told. So I really love this ability for you to be able to not only share a drive for specific things within the shared drive environment, but you're also able to shortcut to specific files outside of it, and then you can give that shared access to that specific file, and it all can be organized the way you want to. So the traditional problem, or the problem that I've seen most often, is that one person in the organization thinks one way about how files should be structured hierarchically, and then another person in the organization, fairly high level, also thinks differently, or thinks differently about how things should be organized hierarchically, and there's a conflict. Now the conflicts can be resolved by them both using shortcuts to a central shared drive, and structuring the documents however they want to, however they can find them and like to find them, they can now. So it's really, really powerful for you to be able to do this kind of structuring and organization within it. Okay, then a snap back to Google Voice. If you happen to be in Canada, Google Voice is now available in Canada. Woohoo! Again, this is one of those cases where I was looking at my notes from the past, and I thought to myself, how has G Suite not been available in Canada for Google Voice? And so you haven't had the product in Canada. So if you are a Canadian, you now have the ability to enable Google Voice within your admin console inside of G Suite. So really good for them there. Talking about telecommunications products, Google has made a number of different updates regarding their communications products. That is Google Chat, Google Meet, and otherwise. So Google Chat, which is akin to think of it as being Hangouts chat, the ability for you to go ahead and have conversations inside of the Google ecosystem. Google Chat is now available for you to have conversations with folks who are outside your domain. So if your administrator allows it, you'll be able to have a conversation with others outside of the domain. And then Google Meet has been added inside of Gmail. So you may have seen this inside of your consumer Gmail account, but now just flip that over to the G Suite side, and you will see two new sections, or one new section with 2 new links there in your navigation drawer that will allow you to be able to start or join a Google Meet, meaning that you can now launch these meetings that were akin to what Google Hangouts video or audio calls or chats were like in the Gmail interface before. You now have Google Meet down there available to you, which is not only appropriate, but about time. Okay. Last but not least is Google has been attempting to update and refine its design elements across all of its various properties. And so it's been slowly rolling out the new updated interface. The most recent one we saw in Google Drive, when you were going to share with someone, you got that shared modal. And now it's that new interface where it's very nicely appointed. As you type in the names of people, it's automatically doing a nice little filter that looks a little bit cleaner. It's showing more of the features right up front, and it just looks nicer. It looks a little bit more robust. So that was the most recent one. Now they're actually launching new Google Groups. So if you remember the old consumer product, Google Groups has continued to live on as a forum technology within G Suite, and now that's available in its new interface. To be honest, it has all the same functionality, but it actually just really looks nice. It looks so much nicer than the old Google Groups. The old Google Groups looked very 1990s web forum. Now it looks very much akin to the Google Sites interface. If you've seen Google Sites interface, it's just bigger and bolder. It just seems much easier to identify different parts and to engage with it. So you can turn on the new Google Groups within the admin console if you're the G Suite administrator, and users will start to see the new Google Groups starting, I believe, on June 9th is when rapid release goes out, and then everybody else will get it in the later part of June. And so that is the end of my updates regarding G Suite and Google and what's going on there. Oh, no, I have a couple more notes here. Hold on a second. So one is Google actually put together a new marketing kit. And so if you don't know, if you go to marketingkit.with google.com, you will go to a site that you can plug in your business name. And if you have a Google My Business listing, it will then give you the ability to download and use certain types of marketing posts and posters and other types of tools. You can actually also request a shipment of stickers and other kinds of things. This is for your physical location of your business, and you can download these print-ready posters and so on and so forth. One of the posters says here, buy a gift today to support our business. They have other ones that you can change it to that says support our staff by buying a gift card or donating today. Thank you for supporting our business with your donations. Support a local business today by purchasing a gift card from us. So you have this options of different types of posters that you can set up. And if you are a restaurant or retail, you can also put in things like we're open for takeout as a post that you can share onto Google My Business, to your Google My Business listing. You have other options: order today for curbside pickup, stay safe with drive-through pickup. We're closing temporarily, but we'll be back soon. You have all these other really interesting little pieces, special hours. We're now accepting online ordering if you get your website up and running. Note that Google My Business, in your listing, you actually can create a website. So if you don't have a website right now, you can create a full-fledged website directly within Google My Business, and it'll just be embedded and available widely, not just within Google Maps, but it's a website like anything else. It won't have a custom domain associated with it. That takes a little bit more work. But if you don't have a website, you can get your a website up and running in that way to go from there. So anyway, check out marketingkit.withgoogle.com, type in your business name, and then it will go ahead and give you these customized marketing components that you can download or order. And you can use those in your Google My Business listing and in your retail shop if you need to. The other part is that the Grow with Google team, they have put together a whole bunch of resources. And again, I will put these resources in the video description. But one of the new resources they've put together just this past week is something called Quick Help. and they're a series of really short videos. They have 9 of them so far. I'm not sure if they're going to add more here, but they're just really quick videos. You know, they're all seem to be under 3 minutes long, and just tell you how to do certain things, like how do I post updates about my business on Google? How do I go live on YouTube with a live stream? How do I create a YouTube channel for my business? Just really quick, easy ways to answer questions and get you started in regard to using Google products. So they're there, they're available, and if you have any questions yourself about how to use Google, as I said before, I am the Google Small Business Advisor for Productivity, so feel free to leave a comment or a question in the chat. If it is of a technical support nature, I am not technical support for G Suite, for Google, or anything like that. So if you go to support.google.com, there you'll be taken to Google Help. You'll find the product you need help with, and you can go ahead and ask your question there. There are community experts, what they call Google product experts, who are able to help you with whatever problems you might be experiencing with Google, and they have an interface to be able to talk to Google employees and therefore figure out more bespoke solutions to problems that you might be experiencing. So feel free to reach out to those folks in Google Help by going to support.google.com. So with that, that pretty much brings me to the end of my conversation today with you. I hope you're all doing well and or are on for bigger and better things as we get through this current crisis or crises. It seems like they keep building and layering on top of one another, but I know that we will get through this, and you know, there are brighter and better days ahead of us, both as a country, but I think also as small business owners within it. So if you have any questions, leave a comment on the video, and then I will see you all next week, as I traditionally try to do, as I regularly try to do. I don't know why traditionally seems to be in my lexicon today, but regularly I try to come on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern and have these Web and Beyond lives. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week, marketing and managing on the Web and Beyond. Take care, everybody. I'm Ray Sidney Smith with W3 Consulting and W3C Web Services. Take care.